There's a strange stillness after the storm. When the noise fades, the dust settles, the adrenaline drops, and you're left there, alive but unsure. That's where I was. I wasn't drowning anymore, but I wasn't moving either. The chaos had passed, but the silence felt unfamiliar. I had no plan, no next big thing, just a question quietly rising inside me. If you could dream again, what would you dream of? It scared me. I hadn't let myself hope in a long time. Hope felt dangerous. It had let me down before, but something in me whispered this time could be different. So I started small. I let myself imagine a life not just built on survival, but on softness. A job that aligns with my values. A home that feels like a hug, not a trophy. Relationships where I could be my full self. I didn't have all the steps, but I had a beginning, and that was more than enough. For most of my life, I chased a dream that wasn't fully mine. It sounded good, looked good, a stable job, a respectable career. I told people I loved it. Maybe I even believed it for a while. But deep down, something never felt aligned. I ignored it, called it just a phase, until one day the ache grew louder than the applause. I realized I was living someone else's definition of success, and no matter how much I achieved, I still felt misplaced. That's when I began the scariest thing, choosing again. Not because I failed, but because I grew. I let go of the old dream, not out of weakness, but clarity. I started asking, what would I want if no one else was watching? If success wasn't about pride, but about peace? The answers didn't come overnight, but every honest question made room for an honest life. I began again with shaky hands and a steady heart, and for the first time, my dreams felt like mine. Starting over sounds terrifying. It feels like erasing everything, losing time, falling behind. That's what I thought until I realized something. I wasn't starting from nothing. I was starting from experience, from knowing what doesn't work, what drains me, what breaks me. That knowledge is powerful. It became my compass. So I didn't build faster, I built smarter. I chose what to carry forward. Not every connection, not every ambition, just what aligned, just what felt true. I redefined success, not as speed or scale, but as depth and honesty. My new beginning wasn't shiny. It was quiet, grounded, slow, but it felt like home. And maybe that's what real rebuilding is. Not returning to the old life, but creating one you don't have to escape from. When I started over, I thought I had to do it alone. I'd been let down, misunderstood, left behind. So I built walls, called it independence. But deep down, I was just scared. Scared of needing people who might not stay. Scared of being too much, or not enough. Slowly, I learned to open the door, just a little. I didn't let everyone in, but I let someone in. The ones who listened without trying to fix. The ones who stayed quiet when silence was what I needed. I stopped chasing connections that cost me my peace. I let go of people who only showed up when I was fun. I no longer begged to be chosen. I chose myself, and then chose those who chose me back. And what I found wasn't a crowd, it was depth. Fewer people, but safer conversations. Less noise, more presence. I used to think healing meant doing it all alone. Now I know, healing is choosing who gets to walk beside you. For so long, I lived in boxes. The smart one, the reliable one, the tough one. Labels that made people comfortable and made me feel trapped. I played the roles well, too well, until one day I forgot where the role ended and I began. When I started over, I had to face a strange question: who am I when no one is watching? Not who I should be, not who others expect, just me. I didn't have the answer, still don't, fully, but I started listening to what lights me up, what drains me, what feels fake. I let go of the pressure to be someone, and gave myself permission to just be. I am not a brand. I am not a resume. I am not my trauma. I am not my past. I'm a story still unfolding. And maybe that's the most honest identity I've ever had. I used to see work as a scoreboard. Every task, a way to prove I was worth something. Every achievement, a shield against self-doubt. I poured myself into productivity. Not because I loved it, but because I feared being useless. But eventually, the burnout came. Not just physical, but emotional, spiritual. That's when I had to ask, if I'm not working to prove my worth, what am I working for? The answer didn't come quickly, but it grew quietly. I work now to contribute, not to compete. To stay curious, not to stay relevant. To build something that feels honest, not impressive. I still care about doing good work, but I no longer tie my entire identity to it. If a project fails, I don't collapse, because I know I'm more than what I produce. Work has become part of life, not my whole life. And from that space, I create with freedom, not to impress, but to connect, to grow. I used to think joy had to be earned, like a reward after productivity. Rest had to be justified. Fun had to be balanced with guilt. I'd hear a voice in my head, have you done enough to deserve this? But healing taught me something radical. Joy doesn't need a reason. It's not a prize. It's a right. I began letting myself laugh without earning it. Take walks without tracking steps. Watch sunsets without productivity guilt. At first, it felt uncomfortable, like I was breaking some invisible rule. But slowly, I reclaimed joy as a part of my healing, not the end goal, but the energy along the way. I stopped apologizing for moments of ease, for dancing in my kitchen, for reading poetry at noon. Joy made me feel alive again, not as a worker, not as a role, just as a human, with a heart that still beats. There's a quiet fear that follows every new beginning. What if it doesn't work out? What if I break again? These questions don't disappear even when you heal. They just change tone. Before, they paralyzed me. Now, they just walk beside me. I've learned that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the decision to keep going while afraid. I still have doubts, still overthink, still freeze sometimes. But I also have something new, trust. Not in outcomes, but in my ability to rebuild if needed. I trust myself to handle life, even if it gets messy again. Because I've done it before. I survived, I grew. This doesn't mean I'm fearless. It means I'm done letting fear decide for me. I take steps now, not because I'm sure, but because staying still hurts more than the risk. There was a time when silence scared me. Empty rooms felt like failure. No messages meant no one cared. I filled every hour with noise, music, scrolling, someone, anyone. But slowly, through healing, I began to unlearn that fear. I realized alone doesn't mean abandoned. Silence doesn't mean something's wrong. Sometimes it's where the truth gets louder. I started sitting with myself, not to fix anything, just to listen. My own breath, my own thoughts, my own pulse. I learned to enjoy coffee alone, walk alone, laugh alone. And in those moments, I felt strangely whole, not because I don't need people, but because I stopped needing people to fill a space I now fill myself. Being alone became a practice, not a punishment. A place of return. A grounding. And in that space, I began to feel truly safe. These days, my life looks simple. No major milestones. No dramatic breakthroughs. Just soft mornings. Gentle routines. Honest work. And underneath it all, a small, steady dream. A dream that's not rushed. Not loud. It doesn't crave applause. It just wants to breathe. To grow in its own time. I still don't have all the answers. I still stumble. Still overthink. Still wonder. But I no longer measure my worth by clarity. I measure it by presence. By how gently I treat myself now. By how often I pause and say, this is enough. I don't chase the dream anymore. I live with it. I water it daily, with rest, with honesty, with hope. And though it's still small, it's real. And I am, too.